This is Frank DiMora with the End Times Research Ministry. Again, today is the 27th of April, 2017. I'd like to go over some news that just came in concerning the Lord's prophecy about Psalm 83. Now, I know that there are people who are unfamiliar with the Psalm 83 prophecy, but it is a prophecy about a war against Israel, which will be taking place soon. And you'll see the participants in the photo that I placed up for you. And today in the news, they talk about Syria. Syria says Israeli missile strike near Damascus airport confirmed. Also, the IDF, which is the Israeli Defense Force, strikes Hamas target in Gaza, keep these names in mind, in response to cross-border fire. And Israeli Defense Minister warns of Iranian presence in the Golan Heights. And finally, the Palestinian Authority says it's halting Gaza power payments to Israel. Now, when we look at Syria, we know that Syria is definitely in the prophecy because they are listed as one of the nations to attack Israel in that Psalm 83 war. And in the book of Isaiah, chapter 17, verse 1, we know that the burden of Damascus, as the Lord says, "Behold, Damascus is taken away from being a city, and it shall be a ruinous heap." So definitely information about the future existence of Damascus in Syria. It's going to be left in a ruinous heap. It's on its way of becoming that now. So we're talking about, in this article, Hamas in the Gaza. You'll see in this photo that I put up, Philistina is the modern day people that are living in the Gaza Strip, the Palestinians and the Hamas. Now we'll break away a little bit because Iran is not mentioned in the Psalm 83 war, but they have fighters in the Golan Heights where we see these enemies of Israel are incorporated with the people that are listed in the Psalm 83 war. And you'll see this article even mentions the Hezbollah. And of course, we can't leave out the Palestinian Authority because they're mentioned in the Psalm 83. In the Gaza Strip, you also see them as Moab and the present-day Palestinians and the central Jordanians. So anytime that we see that these specific nations are mentioned dealing with Israel, we should pay attention to the news because it's just showing us the road that God already spoke about in the Psalm 83. So eventually something's going to ignite this war and it will take place. So Isaiah 17:1, Damascus is going to be in that ruinous heap as I just showed you. And as you see the headline, Syria says Israeli missile strike near Damascus airport confirmed. And just like I've been warning about the diseases that are going to mutate, and we see that those things are taking place, you'll see more reports about the birds, the fish, and the animals dying off, and we're seeing all that. All the warnings that I'm telling you about are coming from Bible prophecy. Warnings from Jesus. So this Damascus prophecy, when you see it in the news, it's important to those that are watching as the Lord instructed us to do. So Bashar al-Assad, the leader of Syria, if he remains the leader, more than likely he would be the one that sees the hand of God coming against Syria as Syria is left in a ruinous heap like the scripture says. And we've been looking for a conflict, a major conflict between Israel and Syria for years that could ignite this battle and light Syria on fire, as it says in Jeremiah chapter 49. The article came out of Beirut. Several Israeli missiles hit a Syrian military position southwest of Damascus airport at dawn on Thursday, Syrian state media said. The Israeli aggression resulted in explosions at the site and some material losses, it said, citing a military source. Meanwhile, a senior Syrian official threatened that his country would respond to the alleged Israeli strike on a Hezbollah-operated weapons hub near the Damascus airport. So there you have Damascus, just as it talks about in the Psalm 83, one of those participants. The Syrian army and its allies will work to thwart a new Israeli plot on the occupied Golan border and will continue to destroy the enemy's collaborators, the Syrian military source speaking on condition of anonymity told Lebanese news site al-Nusra. The article, Syrian army and its allies. And who are those allies? Well, obviously, if you believe in what the Lord told us in Psalm 83, it would have to be those allies that are mentioned in that Psalm 83 war. The Syrian source further claimed that the early morning strike near Damascus had been launched from Israel's Golan Heights. He added that the projectile had hit fuel tanks and caused damage. However, the airport had not sustained damage. Earlier in the day, Syrian rebel and regional sources said the purported Israeli strike hit the site where regular supplies of weapons from Tehran are sent by commercial and military cargo planes. So here we have Iran arming the Palestinians, arming the Hezbollah, arming those that are in the territories mentioned in the Psalm 83 war. Now let us keep in mind, the reason why I'm giving you this information is because Iran will be involved in a full-blown war where Iran, the country of Iran, not just some of the soldiers that are in the areas that are mentioned in the Psalm 83 war, like in the Gaza or in the Golan Heights. And we know what Iran's fate will be from Ezekiel chapter 38 and 39, because they will be destroyed along with the rest of the Islamic nations who come down against Israel to try to wipe Israel out. For more information about that, please read Ezekiel chapter 38 and 39, because it is very specific and it'll give you in detail who it is that's coming against the nation of Israel and who wins and how that battle is played out. Let's continue. The source said the arms depot gets a major part of the weapons supplied to an array of Iranian-backed militias, led by Hezbollah, which have thousands of fighters engaged in some of the toughest fronts against Syrian rebels. Now this report shows a bombing of what Israel did. Watch. Now, in the past, Bashar al-Assad, the president of Syria, has warned that if Israel were to strike them, they would retaliate. We know that there is retaliation coming, and I believe at the end of the day, the retaliation will not just be from Syria, but it will be from the rest of Syria's allies along with Syria, just as the Psalm 83 war says. Now you talk about wars and rumors of war that the Lord revealed to us in Matthew chapter 24. It's obvious that Syria and Israel are butting heads, and there is war coming. Israel is preparing for it. And there's also another video in this article. Look at this news that Israel completes advanced testing of mid-range missile interceptor designed to defend against Hezbollah. So Israel's army, Israel's air force are in constant mode of preparing for conflict. So the skirmishes between Israel and Syria are becoming more intense. And they note this in this section of the report. We'll start right here. On Tuesday, a senior IDF officer revealed new information regarding the most serious incident to take place between Israel and Syria in years. On March 17th, IAF jets were targeted by Syrian missiles, and attack the IDF responded to immediately. However, the senior official revealed that not only did the IDF launch an Arrow missile interceptor to shoot down the Syrian missile, it also destroyed 100 Syrian missiles that were on the way to Hezbollah in Lebanon. Now let's turn here for a second, because Lebanon is one of the nations, you'll see under number 9, Lebanese. They are also mentioned in the Psalm 83 war. In the report by the Jerusalem Post, in face-off with Hamas, PA, which is the Palestinian Authority, says it will not pay Gaza's electric bills. And the reason why I put this up here is because it does reference those same people that are in Psalm 83. However, there's friction between these Arab entities that are living in the same area. So you have these different clashes between Abbas and these other Hamas leaders who really want to take control themselves. But eventually what will happen is, as I said, something would ignite to join all these forces together against Israel. And then finally, this last article, again from the Jerusalem Post, the Israeli defense minister warns of Iranian presence in the Golan Heights. And here is that defense minister, Avigdor Lieberman. Lieberman's comments about Iran were echoed by the Saudi foreign minister Abdel El-Jabir, who is also in Moscow for the conference, which is being attended by defense ministers of 24 countries, including Iran and Syria, and the heads of 7 international organizations. Jabir, who also met with Lavrov, stated that Saudi Arabia would like to put an end to Iran's involvement in the region. We believe that they have no place in Syria or in any other part of the world. These groups influence the situations in Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, the Gulf countries, Yemen. Of course, you have 3 of them right there that are mentioned in that Psalm 83 war. Hezbollah is carrying out its operations in various Middle East regions and follows Iran's agenda. And that is a fact because Iran's agenda, and they've mentioned it many, many times in the news, is the destruction of the nation of Israel. Israeli officials have warned several times of the Iranian presence of the northern border, including in March when Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu visited Moscow and met with the Russian President Vladimir Putin. Following the meeting, Netanyahu released a statement saying, "I made it clear that regarding Syria, while Israel is not opposed that there should be an agreement there, we strongly oppose the possibility that Iran and its proxies will be left with a military presence in Syria under such an agreement." Russia intervened in Syria on the side of Bashar al-Assad in September 2015, but as an ally, Moscow finds itself part of an alliance between Damascus and Tehran. Now, this is interesting because we know that Iran and Russia are allies. And we know from Ezekiel 38 and 39 that the attack against Israel will be coming from the northern quarters. Well, who's in the northern quarters? Russia. And also Damascus, which is the capital of Syria, is directly north of Israel. So you have the exact same players for either the Psalm 83 war or the Ezekiel war that are in this article. Now, I suppose there are going to be many people who may be watching this video say, well, no, this is never going to happen. All I can say is this. So far, everything that the Lord had prophesied concerning watching all of these signs, as we see in Matthew chapter 24, in the beginning of the birth pangs, we're seeing all of those signs taking place in one single generation, like I said yesterday in that video. And these skirmishes and these conflicts involving the same nations that are mentioned in both those prophecies, the Ezekiel and the Psalm prophecies, just establishing the developments that are going to cause those prophecies to be completely fulfilled. And I didn't want to leave out this last article, and almost forgot it, also from the Jerusalem Post. IDF strikes Hamas targets in Gaza in response to cross-border fire. Came out also today, April 27, 2017. IDF tank fire struck and destroyed a Hamas terror target in the southern Gaza Strip on Thursday, shortly after shots from the Palestinian enclave were fired at Israeli forces stationed near the border, the military said. The IDF will continue to act with determination at all times to maintain the security of the State of Israel, the IDF said in a statement on the cross-border exchange. Anyone who has been following the news knows that There's no peace process between these nations that are listed in the Psalm 83 prophecy in Israel right now. And these attacks, and I say it over and over again, these attacks between these countries will no doubt surprise a lot of people who don't think this prophecy will ever be fulfilled. It will. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, I'd love to hear them. This is Frank DiMora with the End Times Research Ministry. Keep on the watch. It's not me telling you this. The Lord told us. Keep on the watch.